Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Nicole Johnson from JDRF, and I'm so delighted to join you for this time together. We're going to spend time thinking about and talking about how to handle the stress of the environment that we're all living in right now. There's so much going on in our world, and stress can cause negative outcomes with our diabetes care and in our family units. And so we want to do everything we can to ameliorate that stress. And our goal is to create a positive, healthy environment for our loved ones with and without diabetes. So we all know that stress is really dangerous. And I want you to take a minute and really think about how you feel when you encounter stress. Your heart may start to beat fast, your palms may get sweaty, your mind may start to wander, you may start to have some negative and even some self-destructive types of thoughts, and then your blood sugars start to go up if you have type 1 diabetes and if you're anything like I am. So stress can cause all of these systems in our body to interact in oftentimes negative ways. We also have a hormonal release, the fight or flight syndrome, that happens when we get stressed. So it makes it all the more reason and compelling for us to practice emotional regulation. Whatever we can do to lower our stress levels, to reduce anxiety, and to up our serotonin or our happy hormones will benefit both ourselves and our entire family unit. So there's a lot of ways that we can practice getting rid of stress or dealing with stress. And right now, I know one of the things that stresses many people is the constant barrage of information on the television about the COVID-19 virus. If that's stressing you out, turn the TV off, turn the news off, and walk away. If social media is causing your blood to boil with the things that you see posted by your friends and your colleagues, set a timer. Walk away from the social media, close the phone, set an alarm. Whatever you have to do to limit your exposure helps you better handle and better deal with stress. And all of these are setting very healthy boundaries for you and for your loved ones. And if you start to feel a little stir crazy, I bet many of you are isolating or practicing some intense social distancing. I know that I am. I've been in my home now for about 2 weeks, going as very few places as I have to go, maybe the grocery store, maybe to the gas station, that's about it. And so if you start to get stir crazy, take a walk, go outside, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Look at something beautiful, something refreshing. Maybe it's a pond, maybe it's a water feature, maybe it's your pool, maybe it's flowers. Whatever it is that brings you a sense of calm, a moment of joy, a moment of appreciation, that will help reduce those feelings of stress and anxiety. Take care of yourself in these circumstances so that then you're better able to take care of your diabetes or the diabetes that exists in your family unit. For parents of small children, it makes me think about when I was a young mother, had a toddler, and some of those days, and sometimes it gets a little challenging and a little trying. And I remember one other parent said to me at a moment when I was really needing some guidance, she said, put a crab in the water. That was one of the best pieces of advice I ever received. Bath time can resolve almost anything that is bothering someone, especially a little one and even a mom. So take those few moments for yourself, treat yourself, and wash away the negativity and come out renewed and better able to handle the environment and the circumstances that you're in. So I have some ideas and some tips for you. We've got a list of 10 of ways that you can really begin to practice some techniques of well-being, mindfulness, positive psychology, and just generally taking good care of yourself in these days and this time. So please know that these are things that will impact your immediate well-being, but they are also things that will benefit your longer range diabetes care. So let's first start with, you've got to keep you and your family safe. And the way you do that is by following the recommendations and the guidelines from the CDC, as well as following the recommendations and guidelines set forth by your personal health professional. And if you haven't talked to your health professional and gotten some guidance, this might be a good time to place a phone call, leave a message, send an email. Most importantly, refresh yourself on those sick day rules that you learned about when you initiated diabetes life, because those are priority at this point in time. The second thing I have for you, do the things that keep you healthy. And these are things that you know and likely already practice, but it never hurts to remind ourselves what they are. So first, eat healthy. Have you found yourself cooking more during these days of isolation and sometimes quarantining, if you will? I certainly have. I've been cooking dinner every night, and it's so much better than the alternatives or feeding our bodies foods that are not healthy for us. So eat healthy, strive to have a well-balanced diet. Exercise, movement releases and encourages those happy endorphins, those feel-good hormones. And exercise is critical to overall health and well-being. Exercise can be really fun. It doesn't have to be a chore. So find something you enjoy and do it with your family or loved ones. Take care of your health. Get enough sleep. If we're not getting enough sleep, we're not being the best version of ourselves that we can be. So prioritize that sleep. It actually relates to diabetes outcomes as well. Stay socially connected. Make sure that you continue to talk, text, FaceTime, video chat with those you care about and those you love. And lastly, take care of your diabetes. Make sure that you're doing everything you can to make sure that you are having as much time in range as you possibly can, because we know positive health outcomes come from that maximizing the time in range so that we don't allow any room for negative outcomes to creep in. So the third point is to talk about your concerns. Community and communication are important. So share your worries, because as you share those, it elicits social support. I also encourage you to share your worries with someone that's safe and non-judgmental, because that helps you get to problem solving around those worries and concerns. The fourth point is ask for help if you need it. There's no shame in ever asking for help, whether that's finding someone to talk to, finding a professional that you need to connect with, asking someone to help you get the things you need, or seeking some medical guidance. It is always the right idea to ask for help if you need it. The next point, number 5, is to limit your media consumption about the coronavirus. It's interesting and exciting to see information come our way, but don't overwhelm yourself and try not to be a slave to that information, because we don't want it to feed into negative outcomes for your personal health and well-being. Explore technology that can be helpful to you and that can promote positive feelings and coping mechanisms. There are a score of apps and websites that you can explore. Some focus on meditation, others focus on prayer, some focus on different yoga type of practices, different calming type of practices. Use these resources. Now is a great time to try something new. It will be a different fit for each person. But reach out and see what you can find. Explore the world of technology in ways that it can help you handle your emotions and your stress. Next, structure your time. Resist the temptation to fall into the vacuum of not knowing what day it is and having nothing on your schedule, but rather try to structure your time where your life is as normal as possible. Make sure that you're making time to do the things that you know are necessary, activity, your schoolwork, your work time. Make time for connecting with your family, and make sure that you factor in there doing something enjoyable and fun. You need to have those bright moments that bring you joy every single day. My next item is practice gratitude and appreciation. Even in this difficult time, there are so many things to be thankful for. We can be thankful for our friends and family, thankful for technology that connects us to them, thankful for the books that we have to read and explore, thankful for music and art that can bring us joy and awaken passions. Thank you for nature and the opportunity to enjoy our environment, and being thankful for having the time to try something new and to explore and discover potentially new passions and new things that will set your soul on fire. And finally, I want to encourage you to have open communication with your family. Talk to your children about what's going on. Be honest with them, be open, follow their lead. I'm sure they're asking you questions. Make sure to answer their questions. And then be a personal detective. Watch and see where it is that they might be struggling and where their fears lie, and try to get to the bottom of why those fears exist. As you talk about these things together, you then have the opportunity to reinforce to those that you love that you are going to do every single thing possible to keep them safe, healthy, well, and protected. And that truly is what children need to hear the most. So those are practical tips that can be applied to everyday life, but when we apply them through the lens of diabetes, every single thing that I just listed helps reduce stress and anxiety and helps us better manage our diabetes and our blood sugars. And that is the ultimate goal, staying in the best possible health we can. So at this point, I want to share with you a little bit about what's happening in my house. I think it's often good to personalize things and make it absolutely real. And some of that includes being a little vulnerable and letting your children tell the story. And so let me invite my daughter, my teenager, Ava, to come in and join me here. Ava, we're going to share with folks what's been happening in our house, because we've been practicing all of these things, and we've been hanging out here together for 2 weeks, which has been awesome for me. Has it been awesome?
Yeah.
It's been awesome for her too then. And we have some practices that we put into place. So let's talk about how we start every day.
Normally by just eating a normal healthy breakfast and taking vitamins and making sure we know what we're going to do during the day.
So having that structure, making sure that we're getting proper nutrition, and yeah, we're taking vitamin C and all kinds of different vitamins that have been recommended for me to take for my health and well-being, and to balance my diabetes as well. So we're doing all the things that we have been told that we should be doing. We set a plan for every day, right? And we have a list of the things that we have to do every day. You can show our list. And the things that are fun to do. You might have to hold it up higher. No, it looks good. Okay, so this is the total reveal, you guys. So of course our have to do's are, we have to get up, we have to eat breakfast. Mom actually says you have to make your bed, right? We have to have some physical activity every day. We have to walk the dogs because, oh, we love our dogs. And they bring us great joy, and we have to practice our music. But then we have fun things to do. And we've tried lots of these fun things over the course of the last several days, haven't we?
Yeah, we went on a close to 9-mile bike ride yesterday. It was quite fun because it kind of kept Mom's blood sugars down, but it was okay because then we got to take a break. So
I liked the break more than she did, I think. It's true. These long bike rides have been a real blessing to us because we're discovering something that we didn't know that we liked. And we ride through the park right now. That's something that we're still allowed to do where we live in Florida. And so that helps us observe nature, to listen to the birds and the different sounds that are in the nature park, and to just spend time with each other. There's a little competitiveness that happens too. And that's okay, because what we're doing is we're laughing and we're enjoying, and that is reducing stress, right? So it all comes back to those things that I mentioned a few moments ago, these general tips to live well that are all included in the psychology literature of if we reduce stress and anxiety, we allow room for growth, perspective, enjoyment, joy, optimism, and hope. And we want those to be the things that bubble up and grow in our hearts, our minds, our spirits, and our bodies, because they lead to better health.
Yeah.
So we tried some other things too that some of them went well and some...
Well, we planted a garden in the backyard too. I got an herb garden that I decided to plant. They're growing really fast, so that's really good. And then we also planted some wildflowers in the back of our backyard by the pool.
And you didn't think you were going to like
No.
that, right? When I bought it, you said, oh, Mom, why do we have to do that, right?
Yeah.
So exposing your family to something new, you just never know what you're going to ignite inside of them. So I may have a future gardener on my hands here. Who knows? We're only a week or so in. We did have an epic fail.
Oh, we tried to knit. Yeah.
We need some advanced help on the knitting. There was a moment last night when we thought we got the stitch right, and we were all wrong.
Yeah.
So again, we're laughing at each other, and we're enjoying our time together. And that's our biggest piece of encouragement to you, is that although the circumstances are not ideal and they are stressful, we can let little rays of hope into this situation, and we can flip the perspective from stress and anxiety to positivity and optimism and joy, right? So how do we end our day? The middle of the day is filled with doing some of those have-to-dos on the list. Of course, we have to work, and we have to do our schoolwork, and we do our activity. But at the end of the day, when it's time to wind down, we actually find ourselves attracted to music, don't we?
Normally by watching a Broadway show on Broadway HD, or just listening to worship music too.
The last couple of nights we've gone to sleep listening to worship music because it's calmed us. It's helped us feel grounded and peaceful. It's something that we really connect with in a meditative type of way, in a faith way. And so that's another piece of encouragement for you. Find something that works for you at the end of your day to end on a positive note. And that might mean not watching the news report at 11 p.m., but rather turning it off and getting into a quiet space, reading a book, listening to music, whatever it is that's right for you, that helps you go to bed feeling positive, because we want your sleep and your rest period to be just that, restful. And if you go to bed feeling anxious, you're more likely to have disrupted sleep, which is not wise for anyone, but especially for a person who's living with a health condition. Disrupted sleep can lead to some poorer outcomes, and the science shows us some of that. So Ava, do you want to talk about any of the other things that you've found interesting this week and the things that you've discovered that are new?
Yeah, I went back and got some chalk out of the garage and started to draw on the driveway, which I haven't done since I was like 6 or something.
You're 14.
But I found it really fun because I really like art and drawing, and that's the thing about art is that it gives you something that you love to do that's creative and fun, and also it can get feelings out that you just can't put into words.
That's really wise, Ava. So whatever you can do to help your young people express themselves, whether it's through art, maybe it's through journaling, maybe it's creating a video series. That's something else that Ava's been doing this week, is expressing herself and sharing her thoughts on her reality with little videos. But these are all creative ways to help her identify her feelings, express them, and then together we can communicate about it and resolve anything that needs to be resolved, or further investigate anything that needs to be further investigated. So these are positive steps that lead to enhanced family communication and family cohesion instead of conflict. And they actually promote understanding amongst each other. And so we're also allowing each other the space to cope with the experience, express ourselves in a and then hearing that expression with non-judgmental ears, acknowledging the challenge, and then moving forward together. And so that's one of the next key elements is togetherness. Together you can conquer anything. But in isolation, and if left unchecked or unexpressed, our emotions can get the best of us. In fact, the story that we tell ourselves about what we're experiencing, about what is happening, is very powerful. And this is all throughout the psychology literature as well. Our brains are wired for stories. So I urge you to craft your story from a positive mindset. It's real easy to get trapped in what if, and this is the absolute negative, in crisis mode, and someone thinks this of me, or what if this happens. And really, those are elements that are creating your story. So you can grab hold of those, flip the perspective, and be your own author. Own that story and create it with positive intent, because your health and your well-being will improve if you do that. So we actually work on this all the time, don't we? Mm-hmm. About assumptions that we make about what people think about us, or think about our work, or think about what we're doing, and how those assumptions are being made up in our minds, but they are often not reality. So focus on what's real and what's here, what's right now. So for me, what's real and here and right now is I have this incredible opportunity to spend time with this girl, a lot of time that I wouldn't ordinarily have had, and it's a gift. Oh my gosh, is it a gift? Do we love the things that are happening around us and in our world? No, we don't. But can we handle it? Can we cope with it? Yeah, because we're together, and we have a united front. We have open communication. We know how to recognize when each other is stressed and overwhelmed. We know how to give the appropriate measure of space when needed, but we also respect each other enough to come back and talk about the root causes of what is making us have negative feelings, being overwhelmed, feeling anxiety, feeling stress. So our goal is to always be utilizing positive coping mechanisms and building our resilience skill set. Because life is always going to throw us challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is just one of the challenges that we'll face along the journey and the path that we'll walk together. And the skills that we build today and how resilient we're going to be will stick with us for the long run. So we've talked about a lot of things: reducing stress, positive coping mechanisms, taking care of our bodies, controlling the stories that we tell ourselves, discovering new things, approaching the world and life and whatever experience you might be in with optimism and with a positive mindset. We've talked about the necessity of taking care of our bodies, especially our diabetes, and about open communication. Now, that doesn't mean that this isn't a very difficult time for many people. And we want to recognize that a lot of people may be struggling. And we want to offer you a resource to utilize should you need to talk to somebody and should you need to find help. And our friends at the American Diabetes Association have created a truly wonderful platform where they have a listing of healthcare professionals who have been trained in diabetes and psychology or mental health. And so their directory is online. If you Google diabetes mental health care directory, you will find it. And the link is here as well for you. It requests that you enter in your zip code, and it will provide you the healthcare professionals who've been trained according to the ADA's curriculum if there are professionals around you. That is a great resource to utilize. So today's been about stress reduction, finding joy, feeding your soul, and practicing gratitude. We hope that something here has struck a chord with you and has felt meaningful, and that you will try something new to improve your health and the health of those you love.